I recently just finished a tour in New York and in the Bay Area. And when you're on tour, you don't have a lot of time to practice. Most of the practice you do prior to touring, and when you're on tour, you're just focused on what you have to do for the workshop, what you have to play on the gig. So there isn't a lot of practicing. And so this video is pretty much about like how I get back into practice. What are some of the exercises that I do? And I wanted to share these with you as well. I have talked on this channel about how you want to focus your jazz practice. You want to cover your technique, meaning the strength of your fingers, but most importantly, and especially for jazz, you want to practice things that you can play in real time. The third thing is you just want to apply what you practice. The first thing is first. The major scale. For me, this is just the most important scale, because when you look at jazz tunes and styles that are synonymous with jazz, the major scale in Western music is just like something that you really want to know well, and you can create exercises out of the major scale that can help you or are applicable to what you're going to play in real time in your tunes. Before we get into it, I also just want to quickly say thank you to those of you who either went to my gig at Dizzy's. I know two of the Open Studio members came to my gig, which was really nice to see you. Some people who knew me from YouTube, one of my learners who I teach online also came to one of my performances. Thank you all so much. Another person who says they saw me on YouTube came to one of my composition workshops. So thank you so much for that. It was lovely to see you all. Okay, so the major scale, putting the scale through all 12 keys in similar motion is pretty much the first thing that I do. And with this, you want to keep pretty much the same fingering. So I generally receive messages, I noticed, about fingering, whether it's from online teaching, comments under my videos about fingering. And I thought to just quickly do a short segment in this video, just like a general rule, my 2 cents on fingering. Going from classical music to jazz, I had many struggles, but fingering and technique was not one of them. And one of the reasons I think that is because with classical music, I was taught to pretty much use the same fingering whenever I played my scales. And of course, the pieces in classical music generally are stagnant in that you can't mess around with improv and whatnot, so you stick to the same fingering. This is going to be a little bit of a long-winded video, so just chill out and enjoy it. Yeah, obviously with jazz, things are not stagnant. You're going to be playing the same tune, but you may play the melody in a different way. Obviously your improv is going to differ for the most part. But when it comes to scales, if I can give you a tip, always try to keep the same fingering, because what that does is when people ask me what fingerings to use for specific melodies and all of that, I'm able to make those decisions quickly because I've learned the basic rules of fingering. This is like the tried and tested method that has always worked for scales. And that is, if I take a C major scale, I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. When I get to third finger, I want to move over with my thumb. Right? But you could also do, depending on what you're playing, which scale you're playing, you can also do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move to thumb. It's going to be dependent. For example, a scale like E flat, where I would start on the third, I would do third first and then thumb. Usually on black notes, I wouldn't recommend you start with your thumb. So you'd start with like your third or your second finger. So if I do third, then I'd do thumb. Then I'd get to fourth and then switch, you know what I mean? I wouldn't move thumb over here because this is a black note and it's kind of awkward to move those top notes over with your thumb. So naturally I would just do 4. That's kind of like the rule that you want to stick to. If you stick to the same fingerings for your scales and all your exercises, when it comes to things like playing melody, voicings, improvisation, you will have that sort of stable way of fingering your scales and exercises. And then when you come across certain intervals in melodies and improv, it'll be way easier for you to make those decisions, and you won't have to wonder which fingerings to use. For major scales, I don't generally practice just your regular major scale. I do bebop major scale. Because going back to what I said at the beginning, I want to practice things that I can play when I'm playing music. Because with the bebop scale, I'm going to use that practically when I'm improvising. I pretty much just use these 3 fingers. It's just practical for me to do that, because now once you introduce the passing step between 5 and 6, you kind of have to adjust your fingers. I find that using 1, 2, and 3 is just practical, especially when I have to play the scale fast. There are so many other instances I'm going to use my 4th and 5th finger. I don't always find the need to use all fingers in a scale. For example, when I play E flat major, I need to use my 4th finger. I have my metronome at 110 BPM right now. I'll do it as quarter notes, then I'll do it in triplets, and then I'll do it as 16th notes. Sometimes I play with single hand if I feel like I need to. And sometimes I skip the quarter note parts and I just go straight to triplets and then 16th notes. You just kind of have to be the judge of exactly what you need on the day. Using 3 fingers in my right hand, again here for B flat major. Yeah, so those passing steps, you just need to be careful with it. You need to practice it slowly first and then speed it up. And I just continue this in all 12 keys. Triplets will take me to 3 octaves, 16th notes, or semiquavers will take me to 4 octaves, and that's how you want to practice. But everything needs to be perfectly divided into the same amount of time. This not only covers technical aspect, but also I'm practicing major scales that I can use play bebop. What I then do is I start to create exercises from the major scale. One of those exercises that I've been doing for years is major diatonic arpeggios. So if I have C major, what I want to do is so I'm just playing chord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as arpeggios. It's really useful not only for your fingers but also to get to know the major scale well, because if you don't know it well already, you will start to see that this is chord 1, chord 7, chord 6 is minor, chord 5 is dominant, chord 4 is major, chord 3 is minor, chord 2, and so on. So these exercises are also supposed to train that harmonic understanding while also helping you with your fingers. Tell that they're kind of rusty, but if you're interested, I do have a PDF that's going to go along with this, a PDF booklet as well as an extended video of this. But the arpeggios is what you want to practice. You want to do it in a different key, let's say E flat, random key, but a third thing that I would share about major scales, and again, when I create exercises, I want to create things that I can use in real time. How about when sunny gets blue? When sunny gets blue. I could use, because this is chord 2 in F major, chord 3 in F major, then flat 7, 2, 5 to 1. I go. Use those arpeggios in real time, so it's a practical exercise. And that's how I like to practice, and this is the kind of practice that has helped me grow throughout the past few years. Now, the other cool thing that I learned from a saxophonist friend of mine many years ago when we were still studying at college, he was like, hey, have you ever thought about practicing your major scales like as enclosures? So for example, let's take F, since I just played When Sunny Gets Blue. So what I want to do is I want to enclose each note, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E. And what I do is I go up the major scale, but I enclose the note before. So if I want to enclose F, I'm going to start on G, which is the next note of F. And an enclosure just simply means a note inside of two other notes. You have a note above and a note below, and you want to play that note above, play the note below, and then the note. So you're like enclosing it. So if I have G, I play F sharp or G flat, then E, then F. Then I go up the next key, which would be A, then I enclose G. So half step from G, half step below from G. So now the fourth note, it's not going to be possible because the enclosure would have been or should be on B natural, right? But B natural doesn't exist in F major, so we have a B flat. So for the fourth degree, which will also be the same for the seventh degree, you want to enclose in this way. So we have, then we continue the same way. You can come down the same way. And these are also really useful because, again, when I play music, I can use these enclosures. Let's go back to When Sunny Gets Blue. And the last thing I'll share about major scales, probably a common one, is just practicing the Barry Harris movement. This also really helped me in terms of understanding the chordal movement within a major scale, to know that I have chord 1 major, chord 2 minor, chord 3 minor major, dominant minor, half diminished. You know, Barry Harris movement goes like this. There are a few ways that you can practice it, a few ways that I like to practice it. You can do root 7 in the left, then you have 3rd and then the 7th again. So you do the 7th extension and then down to the 6th extension. Or you can do another type of voicing shape I like is to kind of create this 10th sound. Other scales that I won't spend time on in this video, because otherwise the video is going to be super long, and that are really useful for jazz, because again, we practice for practicality. Number one, you can do harmonic minor, but even more important I think is harmonic minor 5. So this is what harmonic minor would look like. That's harmonic minor, the scale 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, major 7. But you want to play the scale starting on the 5th degree. But you can put the passing step between 7 and 1. Say I have a jazz tune here in the key of F, like Cheesecake. So for the 5, so it's nice for when you have minor tunes on the 5th degree. I'll speak more on that scale in the extended video. It's one of those things where what I've learned, that to have a good jazz practice session, you literally have to keep like a book list of everything that you're working on, because it's part of the language that you are building. So if you've transcribed something like a voicing, a lick, you want to keep track of everything and just kind of collate it, whether you write it in a book or I don't know how you can keep track of it, and then you keep going back to those things and getting them integrated in your playing. The next thing I want to look at are voicings. Just a plain major chord, like if I want to practice, let's say, a 4th voicing style major chord, if I have F major, I would want to practice that in different keys. I'll practice that in all keys with the metronome or without a metronome. You kind of have to be the judge of what you need at the time. And then I do 2/5 voicings here. So this will be in the key of F major, G minor 9, to C 7 13 with a flat 9, to F major 9. Then I go up a 4th to B flat major. Then I go up a 4th to E flat major. Then maybe we can do A flat major. So you want to practice those things. Another one that I have in the PDF for you to practice is having an altered chord 5 and then landing on a major 4th voicing. Now the last thing, and these are not really in a particular order, maybe the exercises you'd want to do first, but after that I don't think there is any particular order. You want to check out licks or transcribed material, I can call it. You will have what you're working on based on what your taste is. I have things that I am working on. What's cool to practice for licks is you take whatever lick it is, but it's also nice to check out left-hand voicings. So for example, if I have a dominant phrase that I'm working on, let's say over E flat, I can use these left-hand voicings, dominant 13 voicing or like a sharp 9 voicing. This would be E flat 7 sharp 9. Depending on what the thing is. So like, here's the line. This is quite an altered phrase. It looks like it's coming from super Locrian or fully altered scale. So maybe I would want to support my right hand with also an altered left hand. Here's the 13 voicing. I actually like this voicing better. Sometimes it's nice when you have an altered thing in your right to just play a regular thing in your left. It brings out the alteredness of your right hand more. Or let me take this line. Then I'll go up a 4th. Another 4th. Then up another 4th. Up another 4th. This line is kind of like a diminished line that I transcribed from Herbie Hancock. The first half of it is a Herbie Hancock line. And then I would want to apply all of that in context. Depending on what you're playing, you may not always use everything all the time. I'm going to stick with When Sunny Gets Blue.